it's a new movie that just came out, right? You heard of it or no? Origin?
I heard of it. I ain't seen it yet though.
All right, Origin is a movie that came out. Ava DuVernay is the director. She brought it to life from a.
Wait, hold on. What's that name?
Excuse me, Ava DuVernay. She the one that did the Central Park 5. Central Park 5 movie, if you've seen that. The When They See Us.
Oh, okay. I seen the documentary.
Yeah, but so she put this together, right? And the movie is based on a lady named Isabel Witherspoon who wrote a book. So the movie is based on a woman and her journey through writing this book, right? Mm-hmm. And I hope I'm saying the right name. Pretty sure it's Isabel Witherspoon. Let me pull up this article here real quick. This article is crazy. But anyway, the movie is about that, right? So I do want to say I love the movie. I thought it was a great movie. Like just looking at the movie itself, not talking about the content in the movie. I think Ava DuVernay is one of the best directors that we have out here. She is cold-blooded with it. And I think she should keep on making movies. I know she said on The Breakfast Club that she doesn't get offers to, like, she has to pretty much make all her own movies because nobody's offering her. Oh, I'm sorry, Isabel Wilkerson, not Witherspoon. Isabel Wilkerson. Yeah, I knew that didn't feel right. So sorry about that. Isabel Wilkerson is who the movie is about, and it's her journey through making the book, and through her journey of writing and discovering different information, she's losing people in her family, like people super close to her. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to tell the movie because it just came out, and I want everybody to go look at it. But she's losing people close to her and all that, and so it's a good like emotional film and all that. It shows this lady just going through, just trying to make it, trying to stay sane while she's losing people, but still getting the job done with her book. Now, let's get into the movie itself. Now, one critique, and I won't even say, this is not really a critique of the movie because it's really about this lady's real life. So Isabel Wilkerson, I feel, is the victim of what happens when you kind of reject black intellectualism and you feel like going to where what white people think is smart is the way to go. I feel like when people do that, they hold themselves back, right? Let me see. What school did she go to? She has a Pulitzer Prize, so I mean, I'm not to say that she's. I'm not trying to put her knowledge in question. This lady is a very intelligent woman. Oh, it's funny. She went to Howard, so that's even weirder. So let me tell you why I said what I just said, right? So she spent this whole movie and this whole journey of writing this book pretty much being the inception of it was around Trayvon Martin. And then she took that and said, this can't, like, what's up with this thing about racism? Like, we call it racism, but is it really racism? Because this wasn't a white man that did this to Trayvon Martin. That was my first point of contention, right? Because I feel like, why do you think that because it wasn't a white person that did it to Trayvon Martin, it wasn't still racism? It's still racism, right? That's just flat out is what it is. And it's not that it's racism because George Zimmerman is a racist. It's because the ideology of following a black man around America, because he has a hood on and he just looks suspicious, that comes from white supremacy. So it don't matter if a black person did that to another black person, that comes from white supremacy, which is is racism. George Zimmerman did that because his dad is a white man as a judge, and he looks at black people as criminals. That's just the mind frame he's coming from because of the upbringing that he has. That's racism, right? So the fact that she went through this whole story and this whole movie constantly saying, yo, that can't be racism because, like, is this racism the same as this racism? That's your argument as to why it's not racism, because these two different racist incidents are not the same incident? That's not a good argument. Now, the main thing that I had an issue with is that you spent 5 years from the time, well, maybe more than 5 years. So from 2012 or 13 up until when you put the book out in 2020, you went on this self-discovery journey across the globe. You went to Germany, you went around America, you went to India to study the caste system in India. You went to Germany to study the Holocaust and all that. You did all this searching around just to come to the conclusion that, oh, this is a caste system. And by caste, I mean C-A-S-T-E. Caste system is pretty much a system of dividing people into subgroups, mainly based on heredity, right? Which is, what's a race? Don't you inherit race from your parents and all that? Sounds like heredity to me too. Sounds like subgroups. I mean, not different subgroups, but human is the group, race is the subgroup. So this is what let me know that you didn't value black intellectuals and scholars. the black conscious movement has been talking about race as a caste system for probably at least 40 years. At least 40 years. I have known about this at least 10, probably more than that. Like, I know specifically about race being a caste system. Racism is America's caste. That's what we chose, not we as in us, but that's what this country chose to make its divider of groups. But it still falls under the framework of what a caste system is. You see what I'm saying? Caste is just this umbrella term to mean, how are we going to subdivide people up? And we're going to put people at different hierarchies in this social ladder. That's what a caste system is, like a framework. Because in India, they pretty much are considered the originators of this caste thing. And theirs has been thousands of years old. So it's way before race was even invented. They invented race, if y'all didn't know that, right? Anyway, this caste system thing in India is based on their groups there. From Brahmin.
I'm in school.
From Brahmin, which is Kamala Harris is a Brahmin. She would be the white supremacist of her country. All the way down to Dalits, which they studied the Dalits in the movie, which I also thought was interesting. I thought that was good to show them some love and give them some recognition and let people know what they're going through in their country. They pretty much, an Indian scholar traveled to America back in the day to look at what was going on in America, and he pretty much said black people are the Dalits of America. So pretty much he could see from coming into this country, he could see that black people were at the bottom of the social ladder. And that's why I try to tell people that this whole black, white, all these things that come from this race system is not as much based on skin color as it is based on status, for real. Mm-hmm. That's why when you get deep into the black consciousness movement, they like, don't call me black. We ain't black. And they have these other identifiers, which I also respect that. But then I also, when I was saying that, I started realizing that when you say other words that are not black, people don't even know that you're talking about them. And my whole thing is about educating my people. So if I'm using words that they don't identify with, they're not even going to think that I'm talking to them. So so when people always tell me we not black, I never argue with it because I know what they're saying. And I know why they're saying what they're saying. Mm-hmm. So I'm fully on board with all that. Trust me, I went through all the studies that you can, you know what I mean? I went through all of it.
Moorish American.
And I got to the point to where I said, the best way for me to get my point across is to meet the people where they are. That was for me. I know you still got some people, and I can point you in the direction of all the people that's going to do what you want with them. You understand? The Moors, you got Moors, you got the Moorish Science Temple of America. Uh-huh. You got people that follow Kemetic yoga. You got people that follow, you know what I mean? They come up under and they go in the NOI route. Then you got Black Christian movement, you like the Israelites and stuff like that. I could point you in any direction. I just chose not to be part of them factions, but I know what all of them got going on, and I don't knock none of them because everybody had to pick a lane. When we was putting together this like modern conscious community and all that, everybody had to pick a lane. I picked my lane, which would be this form of education. Anyway, she spent all this time searching the globe for some information that she could have found out if she read the ISIS papers from Francis Cress Welsing. She could have found that out by reading one paper. She might not even have written this book, because what she ended up putting this study together and coming up with is like pretty much the most basic information when you start to get into studying race in this country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this is wild to me, to be a scholar and to spend that much time to come up with something that has been known widely for a long time. Like that kind of baffled me, but it's kind of like the book was written for white women or something like that to me. The book was kind of written for people who are like white people who feel white guilt, like people like that. It wasn't written for no intellectuals, not black ones anyway. And this is why I say, like, when you align yourself with entertaining white intellectualism, you're going to hold yourself back. Because black people, we move fast. Once you get like a bunch of black minds together, we're going to start to innovate in this whole conversation real quick. We're going to do the research real quick. Yo, you take this, you do pre-colonial. I'm going to do antebellum period. You do Reconstruction. You do this. And we put that together and we can revolutionize the conversation around racism quick. Couple months. That's what you're going to get when you get black scholars around each other. You get white scholars around each other. You do stuff like spend 5 years to go look up something that everybody knew 25 years ago. That's kind of stuff that happens. You have a white book publisher. If you had a black book publisher and manager and all that, they would have told you, why are you doing that? You know, she had a white husband too, which I'm not going to knock her husband, but she had a white husband too. If you had a black man, he would have told you also, we already known that. Like, he probably would have sent you the video. Hey, this is Francis Cress Welsing saying this in the 80s. Why are you studying that? Sorry, go get a book and read that. Why are you doing that? You about to spend all this money traveling to India and Germany and all. We already know all this. Why are you doing this? So she won awards, all type of stuff, bestseller, all that. We know white women was the biggest readers of that book because I never even heard of it before.
Yeah.
I'm in that world. I never heard of it. So I know you wasn't pushing the envelope. You understand what I'm saying? So, and again, the movie was good. I'm beyond talking about the movie. I'm talking about what that lady was doing, researching caste and race for 5 years. You understand what I'm saying? Like, shout out to her, man. Hopefully, like, now next time she write a book, she's gonna really push the envelope and figure some things out. I read an article in the Huffington Post and I was reading it and I'm like, yo, this person is like slamming this movie, going crazy, like talking crazy. And as I was reading it, I was like, this wording sounds like a black woman wrote this. Her name is Candace Frederick. I looked her up on Instagram. She for sure is a black woman. I'm like, she on their head about this, because that's what I'm saying about black intellectuals. You can only we going to advance this thing so fast because we challenge each other. You know what I'm saying? I didn't agree with most of the stuff she said in here because her whole point was about that movie is not even, she said Origin, the headline says Origin is barely a movie. Here's the subheadline. Ava DuVernay's ambitious new film attempts to grapple with with complex theories on race, but forgets to tell a good story. This how we get down. We gon' I wish she would have done it for a black publication.
I seen that
on my Instagram.
Nah, just I seen it somewhere. I don't know if it was like my little Yahoo settings on my phone or whatever.
Oh yeah,
my little Android. Because I remember the part that stood out was the forgets to tell a good story part.
Yeah.
Caption.
So it's like if you would have had like a black think tank when you put this book together, you would have realized that's the story you told wasn't a story to tell. Because who in their right mind believes that the interaction between George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin does not stem from race? And
what else would it has? Did she say what she thought it stemmed from?
Caste. But then when you say caste, and then what's beyond that? So that's what I'm saying. Like, caste is like a
what
framework.
Made him feel like that was a different qualification than him. Were they not living in the same area?
She like, oh, this Latino man killed a black man trying to protect them from a white community. That's racism. That Latino man can also be white, and he is. Like, there's races within ethnicities.
A lot of Latinos identify as white on their census.
Yeah, they do, because they are white, because Latino is an ethnicity. It's not a race. See, a lot of people mix up the race and the ethnicity thing. That's why you see on these applications, it'll say Hispanic, non-white, or non-white Hispanic, or non-Latino. Whatever, it's because it's still race. It's a white man that did that to Trayvon Martin.
And the craziest thing about, kind of off subject, but the craziest thing about that little check, white, black, Hispanic, non-Hispanic thing is, black for what us African American, whatever you want to call us, black people, if you actually look up the definitions behind those words, like the word black is the one that least defines us. The one that says black is the one with no origin. Even the white one, we would make more sense identifying as white on the census than black based off the definition. It's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing about not knowing your origin, which is why we stuck with black, is because we so mixed up with so many things. We don't know the exact origin. So it's like, then we got what they call a misnomer. But either way, though, I think that, and it's sad because, like I said, I like the movie. Even if I disagree with something, I could still like the project put together around it. So like the art. I went to the movies. Oh. It's the art put together around this thing, around this book, I think was great. I think Ava DuVernay did her job. I think that the book was like a major redundancy if you consider yourself to be caring about black people in this whole intellectual space. That work that you did has been done for decades. It honestly, good for you because you made it work and you sold it to all them white women that wanted to, hey, oh my God, I didn't know. All them people you want to do that with. Shout out to you for getting your bread up.
Guilty white people.
You know what I'm saying? The white guilt thing that they put together. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. But I want to give a major shout out to Ava DuVernay. You captured that emotion amazingly on that screen. I was in a movie theater. People was crying all over the place. I'm like, damn. Because it was the people dying and stuff that was just getting, you know what I mean? People dying. They was up in there crying like shit. Even a dude, I was sitting next to a man. He was up in there crying.
And you said the Ava woman is a white woman.
No, Ava DuVernay is black. She's black. But a lot of her content. No. The person who I'm talking about, Ava DuVernay, made the movie about the other black lady's book.
Oh,
Isabel Wilkerson's book. That's the one who studied this thing.
Isabel's a white woman.
That's a black woman too. That's why I said you got to align yourself with black people.
Ah,
You wouldn't have even played. You wouldn't have done that if you was around black people. That's how I knew you wasn't around black people, because you wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
They would have been like, she would have
spent
said
all that time trying to prove racism wasn't a thing.
they kept showing her, had these conversations with her cousin, and it's like, yeah, her cousin wasn't well versed in that, because her cousin wasn't. She wouldn't be considered like an intellectual. But if you would have went and sat with some intellectual black people, they would have said, when you said this is not race, this caste, they'd have said, okay. So like we already know that. What are you getting at? Like what's the point?
Yeah,
we know that already. Next, and then she'd have been like, guess we do know that already, and she'd have did something else.
That was like the whole movement of the nation. If people remember when they was talking about segregation and integration, like what the biggest thing that Malcolm X and the other leaders of the nation, that was, the other orators that was going around speaking, they was telling you, like, the whole point was to stay together as a community, so that way we didn't subject ourselves to the caste system. You know what I'm saying? We can keep our money in house.
But naturally, humans they just put a name on it. Humans are going to separate themselves no matter what, because you got African countries, they find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Just like Indian countries, they're all Indian, but they found a way. That's why they say it's based on heredity. So pretty much you can't get out of that group. You are related to your parents was one of them, you gonna be one of them.